Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Charlie Morgan here and welcome back to my YouTube channel for another video. It still amazes me to this date that people actually just hang around and listen to me talk to a camera for 10 to 50 minutes at a time, but I must be doing something right, so thank you for joining me and it's good to have you. I'm currently in the process of moving house. I've got to move out of this lovely flat into a new lovely home with my girlfriend, and anyone that's moved house before can probably attest to the fact that it's not the nicest and most pleasant thing to have to do. It's not very conducive towards focused work, so I'm here sort of amidst just everything, but here we are, and regardless, I wanted to get this video out to you, so anyone who's moved house before, I'm sure you can empathise with my situation. But let's talk about business, because I was literally driving on the motorway in the UK. It's called the M5, and I was driving back from my parents because I go and visit them every now and then. That makes it sound like they're really old and senile. They're not. They're lovely. But basically, I was driving on the motorway, and you know, anyone who's been on the motorway, I'm sure you've seen like a sign for services, right? And you know, sometimes the services, I don't know what you'd call it in the US, but it's kind of like if you're on the highway. Services in the UK is when you sort of pull in and there's like a gas station, a petrol station, and then like a fast food chain or something. And anyway, I was sort of driving, I didn't have any music on, I was just chilling out, just sort of like behind the wheel, just thinking. Basically, that's usually what I do when I drive, is just think. Well, that's what we all do all the time, but anyway. And I was looking and I saw this sign for services, and on that sign there was a logo for Burger King and Starbucks. And I just had this thought, and I sort of set a reminder on my phone, like through Siri. Like the big businesses, the most successful businesses, they only really focus on what matters, or in the initial inception of them or conception of them, they only focused on really what mattered, which was bringing value and alleviating pain from a market of their choosing. And the reason I had that thought is because, let me show you this. Let me pull this up on my phone real quick, okay? This is Burger King's menu. I don't know if you have Burger King in the US. Menu, sorry. This is their logo, right? I think this is like a new menu, but this was their menu before that. Menu? Logo. Sorry, guys. This is their logo, right? And the reason I'm bringing this up is you might be thinking, yeah, I know what Burger King's logo looks like, Charlie. But then, like, this is Starbucks' logo, right? It's just like some woman with a star on her head. Like, these logos, like, they're not really groundbreaking. They're like the most recognized symbols in Western culture and probably Eastern culture at this point as well. Like, McDonald's is just a yellow M, right? Now, why am I explaining this? Well, there's a really good book. It's called Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, who is the founder of Nike. And he was explaining the genesis of the swoosh. You know, that sort of, I've even got it on my socks here, right? Get me anchor out on a YouTube video. But he was explaining the genesis of the swoosh, right? And he was saying that, like, the way the Nike swoosh was invented was by some sort of like university or college graphic designer who needed a project, and they paid them like, I think like $10 or something for the swoosh. And then they paid them like some really marginal amount, like with some sort of competition or something. My point is that the swoosh was not designed by a professional team of graphic designers. It wasn't designed by a branding team. I think someone probably put like an hour of thought into it and sent it over to Nike, and they were like, oh yeah, we like that, we'll use that. And that was obviously before Nike was Nike. It was just like some sort of random brand. But that got me thinking, and that then related into why I'm recording this video and why I'm telling you about Burger King on the M5 and showing you my ankles. These big brands, in the initial stages, like, the reason they're big now is because they weren't focused on the brand. They were focused on what was like underpinning the brand. So I'm not really a huge expert in branding, but I understand a bit about business, so I think I can sort of provide some insight here. A brand is like, or the perception of a business is not dependent upon the logo or the externality of the business. It's dependent upon the internal outputs of it. And what I mean by that is the value that it actually produces. So, for example, the reason, if you like, when you go to any other, you know, coffee shop or something, like, you won't recognize their logo because, well, obviously it's not a huge widespread chain. You might recognize it if it's local. But with Starbucks, the reason you recognize it is because, like, it's not because of the logo itself. It's because of the brand that sits under the logo. So the logo isn't the brand. The brand is Starbucks and the name of Starbucks and like your familiarity with it, and the logo is just a vehicle for you to convey your conscious understanding of what Starbucks is through some sort of logo form, right? Now, how does this integrate with your business and why you should care as an online high-ticket entrepreneur? When you start a company, focus on what matters. Do not focus on externals, focus on internals, and recognize that externals will manifest. What I mean by this is our company, Imperium Agency, it's our main business, it's a coaching business. It does, $2-3 million a year in revenue. And our logo is literally just a little box with white I and A in the middle. It's literally, I made it in Canva, and I'm not even joking. The name of the company itself, Imperium Agency, my business partner and I came up with it whilst we were playing Call of Duty Zombies. I made the logo the next day in Canva and haven't looked back since. I haven't made any amendments to it. Same with our Facebook page. We haven't even got a website. From a branding perspective, our business is really fucked, right? We haven't got a website. We haven't got mugs. We haven't got t-shirts. We haven't got pens with logos on them. We haven't paid graphic designers to come up with anything. We don't have a fancy website. I don't have any sort of fancy shit. Like, what we did is we decided on a name, and we had to have a logo because someone needs to look at the logo and the name and then associate it. But then we just got to work on the product. So the reason I'm saying this is because when you are running a business, if you focus on perception, then there will be nothing to perceive. But if you focus on value, then there will be something to perceive. So if you want the market to see you and recognize you, don't spend hours and hours and hours and weeks and months trying to design the perfect logo or worrying about a certain color on your landing page or any of that shit. Worry about what the business is actually producing as a product. So here's an example. Look at Apple, right? Their logo is literally just a piece of fruit with a bite in it. There's no marketing genius behind that. There's no they haven't. I'm sure they've probably paid branding experts millions of dollars, but my point is that Apple isn't Apple because of its logo or because of its website or because of its Facebook page. Apple is Apple because it produces the best technological products for consumer use in the world. And Apple is perceived in that way because of the value, not because of the way Apple wants to be perceived. Now, branding experts will probably disagree with me with that, and they'd probably be right. But my point here is, if we're not, maybe not trying to build a huge multi-billion-dollar tech company. If you look at, let me show you another example of this, right? So if I go to Facebook, and I pull this up here, this will be flipped, unfortunately. But when you go to Facebook, this is literally the page that you go to. There's nothing fancy. It just says log in. And then I'm pretty sure when you logged in, it just says Facebook helps you connect with people that you love. Let me give you another example, right? Amazon. So this is Amazon's website, right? It's probably going to be flipped. If you've shopped on Amazon before, you're aware it's the sort of ugliest and hardest to navigate e-commerce store in the world. As it goes against all of these e-commerce, principles. Is just have one offer and one product and keep it clean, and but Amazon, the website looks shit. It doesn't look pretty, but it's usable, but it's not great. Here's another example. This is Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway. And this is their website. This company here is worth, I think, 400 or 500 billion dollars. That's how much revenue they do each year or something crazy like that. That's the market cap, I'm not sure, but in the hundreds of billions of either of those numbers is impressive. And their website is just literally just a culmination of links. And the person who owns this website is one of the richest men in the world, Warren Buffett, right? So when you are building, build what you should build, not what you think you should build, or what others would see you as building. Does that make sense? So when you're starting a company, when you're building things for the first time, do not focus on the externals. Do not focus on the perception. Understand that if you want people to perceive you, you want them to perceive you because of how much value you can provide to a market, not because of how pretty your logo is or because of the certain shade of yellow that you decided to use on that product one time, right? It doesn't matter. It's if you want asymmetric results in business, and by the way, asymmetry is a beautiful principle to understand. It's basically it's recognizing activities or actions that require small inputs but have huge exponential outputs. So the relationship between how much you put in and how much you get out is anything but linear. It's a huge discrepancy. Building a product and focusing on building a product and a good culture for your team, those are the two most sort of asymmetric activities that you can perform in business. So when people start, I don't know why, but they focus on all the other shit. It's like, oh, I need to get my name right. I need to get my logo together. I need to build my Facebook page. I need to get a website in place. And they spend the first, like, the most critical months in business, that initial, 3 or 4 months, just working on the image. When, like, what's the point in, it's kind of like if you were trying to take a photo of something that doesn't even exist yet. Like, you might take a picture of something nice, but there's nothing to actually take a picture of. And anyone you show the picture to, like, to you, it might look like this thing, but then they look at it and it's just a blank screen. That's what people do when they start businesses and try and get all this sort of perception, external shit out first. And the most common reason people make this mistake is because when people are new to business, all they've ever seen business as, or all the only interactions they've ever had with business or businesses has been the externals, the social media presence, the website, the support teams, right, the logos. They fail to see underneath, the iceberg that is a business or a huge brand or corporation. And so all they perceive is the front level of the business, which is the marketing side of it, because that's all they've ever been exposed to as a consumer. And so, like, because they're not operators, they behave like they build their business around consumers, not operators, but then they think that, like, all consumers want is what they want to see, but not what they actually want to buy and what they want to build. So I may have not done the perfect job of articulating this, but the premise of this video is basically focus on what fucking matters, right? If you're gonna build something valuable and build it to last, and don't build it to be perceived as anything but the most important thing in the market. So with Imperium, like I said, we got the name done whilst playing Call of Duty Zombies. My business partner's mum actually suggested it. She was like, what about the name Imperium? And we were like, oh, cool, Imperium Agency, sounds like a plan, cool. And then we were like, well, do we want this logo thing? We didn't want it, but we were like, oh, we kind of need a logo. So I just literally went into Canva, found a template, and then just put some, like, INA in it, and then put it in, like, Times New Roman font or something, and then the logo was done. And then we had the Facebook page built with a little cover photo that took like 2 minutes to build. And then we were like, okay, done. We don't need a website. Let's focus on the product. And then, like, the last 14 months of business for us have literally just been building a product and building systems to acquire clients for that product. And we've made millions and millions of dollars doing that. And we still don't have a website. We still don't have a logo. Well, we have a logo, but we don't have that logo printed on, like, jumpers and pens and mugs. And, like, I don't have an Instagram account. We don't post on social media through, like, our business, right? None of that. It's all a load of rubbish. It's all a load of crap. And, like, okay, here's, I'll leave you with this in closing. If you're on Facebook and someone invites you to like their business Facebook page, they've lost business before they've even begun. It's kind of like when people are like, oh, can you like my Facebook page? It's like, you know they're fucked, because Facebook page likes do not equal value in a market. Now, if you're going to run Facebook ads to a Facebook page, then you need to have likes on it because it gives you credence. But other than that, like, people invite me to like their page, I'm like, you just don't get it, do you? Like, you're spending time trying to make your business look popular instead of building an internal, like, asset that actually would generate true, genuine popularity through usage. But no, you don't do that because it's hard and it takes time and it's confusing. Instead, you'd rather just click around on a few buttons and think that's going to make you money. It's not how it works, I'm afraid. Maybe you disagree, but it's like people who are like, oh yeah, I'm going to, like, start building my, I don't know, what else do people do? I don't really know, to be honest. But it's like people that spend ages on a website and they agonize over what shade of blue to make the contact page header or something. Like, they agonize over whether they should use this stock image or this stock image. It's like, dude, if you're going to put that much, if you're going to put that many neural kilojoules into making a decision and all that energy and time, why don't you just take all of that effort and put it onto, in my product, should I include this module or this module? Right? Fuck the shade of blue, right? Let's focus on whether we should teach this or this, or how we should do this and this, and how we should help clients in this or this way. Anything that, like, you want things that are client facing, you want to focus on things that your clients have direct experiences with. Sure, your clients will interact with your logo, but my logo could literally be a penis. And if I got people meetings, they would still buy from me. In fact, I could literally call my company Dickhead Co. and my logo could just be a cock. And if I was known for being the best person in the world at generating meetings for high ticket businesses, I would still become a millionaire through that business. Sure, it might be a little harder with the penis as a logo, and I could literally just call my company like, I'm a dickhead. I'll leave you this in closing, right? Imagine that you are You have discovered the cure for cancer, and you can give people a little tablet to take and it will cure them of all cancer forever, right? You could literally sell that for anything you wanted to, but you could literally call the company, "This is a scam, don't buy from me." And your logo could be like, I don't know, like a picture of like a cock again, and then like, but if that thing actually worked and got results and was clinically proven, you become a billionaire, right? It wouldn't matter what you call the company. Sorry, you don't want to actively like name your company something that's going to pull you apart. But my point there is like, it doesn't really matter. Like in the extreme of things, it doesn't really, it's irrelevant. So all that time and energy that you spend on your name and your logo and your externals, just stop it. Just call your company something simple, like, you know, you're starting a marketing agency and you just, you know, you're thinking, oh, like, should I use this word or this adjective, or on the logo, should I dot this I or should I put a little star instead? Like, dude, all that mental energy you're putting into that should be going into your products and your customers and their experience. Because like if you spend all that time on your logos, you're fucked, right? I promise. And it might be a bit of a pill to swallow because, well, it's fun to do that stuff, but it's not the main thing. And your customers at the end of the day aren't going to buy from you because you replace the dot with a star or because you use a darker shade of blue on your contact page. People will buy from you because you can deliver results and get them what they want. That's where all your time and energy should be. It should be on nothing else. Anything that isn't that is a waste. So that's everything for this video. Now that's what I've learned having built a couple of businesses, and I may well be wrong as I progress in business and eventually want to build £1 billion and $1 billion brands and stuff. Maybe I will come back and think, oh, I'm an idiot. But based on my perception of getting to 7 figures, you don't need any of that fancy shit. So if your goal is to get 10, 20, 30, 100, 200 grand a month, you don't need anything but a good product and a good way of communicating that product to your market. Anything else is really a waste. So that's everything from me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do like the video. If you liked it, there's quite literally a button that allows you to do that. If you want to see more videos and stick around for more, you can click the little subscribe button. That would warm my heart to the core. After all, I have showed you my ankles on this video, so it's the least you can do. But anyway, if you disagree, please drop a comment. If you do agree, drop a comment either way. And if you want to explore more about how my business can help your business acquire more clients, there is a funnel in the first line of the description that will take you through to a landing page to learn a bit more about how we help high-ticket businesses scale through cool acquisition systems that actually work and don't rip you off. It's pretty cool. We guarantee results. But anyways, I will leave you. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day. Cheers, people.